Happy Monday, everyone, from Acacia Living. Yes, this is how I sound. um, that's why I'm here, though. I'm always telling you that our physical health depends upon the integrity of our energetic field. And so one of my biggest weaknesses in the tactile is allergies. And I have asked metaphysically many times if there's anything to be done about that. Because there are times, seems like I can be out in the middle of the stuff and it doesn't bother me as much as others. And I've been told there's going to be some physical reaction, a little bit. I'm not quite sure why. I suppose we've always got some cracks in the integrity of our field. I just got a yes on that. I don't know if y'all saw or not. Do we have internal yeses or nos? That is one of the things I suppose we haven't talked about, so I will digress a bit here. Learn to do this. This is one of the first things you can do that will be so very helpful for you, is just sit with yourself, meditate, take one of the large crystals if you have any, however you like to meditate, it doesn't matter. And start asking your light body, many people refer to as their guides or their higher self or source, however you want to look at it. But in actuality, you are a multidimensional being. You are a light body functioning as a whole, complete being. So ask all of you to start communicating as a whole. And to do that, you need to get this internal yes or no going. And so ask, what does my yes feel like? You see, immediately I get the squeeze, I get the yes squeeze. What is my no? My no is like it drops into my pelvic floor, just a boom, immediate. And what is my maybe? My solar plexus does this on a maybe. So yes, no, maybe. And ask. It's different for everyone, although I've heard many people describe it very closely to what mine are. But so yes, so do that. So anyway, I have asked many times and been told that there's going to be some degree, because we are always going to have the integrity of our energetic fields are never going to be perfect, as long as we're in the state of flux we're in anyway. Do we ever get to a point that it is? I just got a yes. It's now that y'all can see, you're going to be like, oh, damn, we can just watch her do that. Yeah, I don't have my lights on either for y'all to watch. Shoot, because people ask me about those. I should go turn them on because people enjoy watching the lights go up and down. Sorry about that, folks. But anyway, so this got really out of hand this weekend, and so I'm like, okay, what's going on? What's going on? And yesterday I did not feel like doing this, but today I decided let's find out, and so I got Moonstone. All right, so let's check that out. Mama Moon rules the waters, pulling the tide and singing to the ebb and flow within our own watery bodies. Water is emotions, okay? We are emotional beings, energy in motion. Think about this. Our light bodies they are not embodied. They are merely the two natures of energy that work together in unity, okay? But they're not embodied. They wanted to be energy in motion. Emotional beings. They wanted a tactile physical experience. That's us. There's a reason we're emotional beings. Those who say that emotions are bad, they're why you're here. Embodiment is why we are here. Everything we experience embodied, that's why we're here. There's great significance to the fact that Acacia, as in Acacia Living, is where sound is heard. There are people who have reported coming back after past life experiences, after like near-death experiences, and they will say that there was no sound. Or if they get to talk to someone there, they would say there's no sound here. We don't talk here. If they're like on their, have the choice to come back or whatever, that what you're going to miss most is there's no talking. We do everything with telepathy. There's no sound. We express here. We vocally express. Sound vibration, vibrational waves. They're a very important aspect of the Acacia living experience. Acacia is Earth. The earth experience is the Akasa experience. Living on this planet is a case of living. Something I didn't know when I named it that. I did, but I didn't. But anyway, moving right along, folks. As the moon's acolyte, Moonstone holds the mystery of water, teaching us to swim in our own depths. Go within. Discover yourself from the heart space. From the heart space, not the programming. Not the programming. Find your own rhythm of waxing and waning. The moon, as the moon goes from full to dark and dark to full, that's waxing and waning. So our emotions are going to ebb and flow. The reason the moon does what it does, it has to do with the movement of energy. The same thing with us. And when the large astrological bodies, like the moon, affect things like the tides on the planet, remember how much they affect us. Okay, for we're water too. When you feel disoriented by new places or experience, or when you feel the pull of modern energy has taken you away from the mysteries of the natural realms, Moonstone will guide you back. She's a stone from the journey, and all of this is a journey. From the dark to light, from living in denser energies to coming up to the lighter energies. That's all that means. Having been in denser energies does not make you good, bad, or whatever. Now, have some people done really bad things? Yes. Have some people done just awful things? Yes. But most of us, for the most part, have just regular old dense energy. And we think it's awful. But if we were all honest, and if we could all see within one another, we would see that what we did was no worse than what the other did. Most people. I know there are exceptions, but I'm talking about people in general. So every time you start thinking, oh, you just don't know what I've done, I don't need to know what you've done. I've been in dense energy. I've been in denser energy. And I don't want everybody knowing what I did in denser energy. And I don't want to keep remembering it. Therefore, I don't want to remember yours either, or know yours. Okay? From inner to outer, as within, without. What we believe within is energy we will put without. So we have to come to this place within where we know that we know that we know. I have a friend that once we had this discussion on whether you either know that it's true or you don't, but you have to know. You can't think, you have to know. Boy, was that true? That was true. You have to know that you know. And I know. From winter to summer. I love how they did that. Not from summer to winter. Not from being young and all of that to getting older, but from winter, from when things are bleak, less than ideal, cold, things aren't growing, that sort of thing, to summer, when everything is in bloom and all of that stuff. And you sound like this. I can sound like this anytime. Steadfast in her gentle assertion that everything comes round again. Flowing with life's tides, she assures you, will lead to renewal. And then it talks about the phases of you, and are you fluid or crispy? Because we're talking about watery. When the moon is full, or when it's gone, when the moon is new. What in your life makes you feel fluid and flowing? And what makes you feel crispy and dried up? Those are the two questions it asks. And of course, I'm always in this book, as you all know. So, well, I understood all of that. And then I got creative solutions. Think outside the box, view things from a higher perspective. Well, there you go. So it's not just the obvious, it's look above. or a higher perspective, asking our higher selves, getting input from above. It can mean all sorts of things. But there's a squirrel in here. And those of you who know me well know that for years now, I've numbered all the squirrels that I come across. I'm up to like a gazillion and 44 now or something like that. And they won't wear little t-shirts with name tags for me, so I can't tell them apart. But I think I'm pretty good at identifying them. But yes, and there's a butterfly here, which of course signifies awakening, and a unicorn, which of course is unconditional love. So there's a diamond in a heart here, so that would be the cosmic diamond, which of course is clarity, and it clears, it will cut away all that does not serve us. So, and kind of looks like a harvest moon perhaps in the background, and I'll be taken sitting on a flower. All of that's sitting on a flower. So view things from a higher perspective. View things from a higher perspective. That's what I got next. And so rather than think about the planet and the ragweed, because there are times I can walk out in the middle of all of this kind of stuff and I'll flare slightly, but not bad. And there are other times I can't even walk near the flowers in the supermarket because I love flowers, people. I love live flowers. I started to buy some sunflowers on Thursday, Friday, one day, and I couldn't even get near them. I started sneezing and carrying on, and by the next day I was like this. I went for a walk that evening, and by the next day I was like this. So, but there are other times I can be around the very same things that have caused me to go into this bad of an allergy flare, and I won't. So there has to be a reason. The integrity of my energetic field was down. Now, I've been feeling pretty damn good about the integrity of my energetic field, to be perfectly honest. So I'm like, well, time to come off that high horse, young lady, and just figure out where are the cracks in your armor. And we all have them, okay? We all have cracks in our armor. And anyone who doesn't think they do, that's the biggest crack of all. Anyone who doesn't think there's a crack in any type of armor they have, that is your biggest crack of all, okay? So I did some research, and seasonal allergies in the metaphysical, the cause for those, the cracks in our energetic armor, or the integrity of our energetic field, are things like emotional congestion, fear of the time of year that it is on the calendar, a belief in persecution or feelings of guilt, feeling unsafe and unloved, chronic grief and sadness, repressed tears, not allowing yourself to cry when you need to cry, unresolved feelings, perhaps even rage or aggression. We live in a society where anger is anger is a dense emotion, but there are things that will cause us to feel angry. It's not the fact that we felt the anger, it's what we do in that moment. It's all right that something makes you angry. The thing is, our responsibility with any emotion, it is perfectly fine. We are emotional beings. I don't want to give the impression that we're not going to ever experience dense emotions. Are we going to have periods of sadness? Are we going to have periods of anger? Are we going to have periods of overwhelming competitiveness? Or what about me? It's all about me at this moment. Of course we are. The key is not to stay in those moments. Dense moments energetically are our cues to look in the mirror at ourselves. What is this showing me? And then accept the personal challenge. If you want to be competitive, compete with yourself to always be better. Okay, if you want to win it being you. If you've got to be right because you looked at what was going on and you improved. Okay, so when we find ourselves experiencing a dense emotion, don't act like you didn't have it. That's being an imposter. That's true imposter syndrome there. That's truly passing. That's spiritual passing is what some people call it. I call that true imposter syndrome. When we act like we never have a dense emotion, who are we kidding? Of course we do. It's what we do with them. Recognize them and then deal with it. Be real, feel, deal, and heal. Although I don't like the word heal, rhymes. Progress from it. What caused that? Why am I feeling that? Oh, I reject that. I'm not going to be that way. That's not the energy I want to put out. What energy do I want to put out? How do I want to be treated? Who do I want to be? What do I want to feel? What do I want to experience? None of that. Okay, then I better get myself into frequency. Okay? So it's perfectly fine that something makes you angry, but don't act in anger. Don't stay in anger. Don't put energy out in anger. Or you're going to get it back. Look at it. Okay, I can't do anything about the fact that this has happened. I'm in anger. There may be something you do about the situation, but don't do it from a place of anger. All of your actions, the energy you put out in action needs to come from the right emotion. Just as last week I was teaching that the emotions we have need to evoke the right action, and they need to be congruent and in the same frequency as our energetic behavioral styles. Our energetic behavioral styles, sometimes when we're just taking action, they need to come from the right emotion or they're not in frequency either. Okay? So just because someone has done something and you have a legitimate reason to set it right, take the action from the right frequency. And the right emotion has got to be attached to that as well. It works both ways. Okay? All right. So, and a belief in deserving persecution and unresolved feelings of fear. It can be also that when you were a child, you believing, or perhaps not as a child, it could be a traumatic moment even later in life, when you believe that if you were heard breathing, you would be hurt. And there could be a fear of the flow of life, a fear of joy, or a fear of being attacked can cause it as well. And it can also, as yeah, so that's basically it. So in my case, I looked at it, and I do tend, it seems every year about this time of year, to have something that it hits me worse than others. There is a birthday this month that is very special to me, of someone who's passed, and I don't let myself show a lot of emotion about that. I don't talk about it a whole lot, and when I do, I assure everyone I'm fine, and I am fine, because I'm in contact with that person. You know, they're just in another dimension. But is it the same? No, it's not. So, does it bother me? Yes, it does. But, and should I let myself experience that a little more than I do? Probably. Last year, I certainly did. I shed a lot of tears last year, and I probably need to go ahead and shed a few more this year. So that's coming up. And yes, I've written in the second book that I was in last year about growing up afraid. I was supposed to be asleep, and so I was afraid to even breathe, because what if they thought I wasn't asleep? So I definitely grew up in that kind of energy, and I suffered with stuff like this all the time. And I was not, to use my kids were to be seen, not heard. So I definitely was not to express myself. So so yes, I have two very big things. The one about the breathing, not so much so, but when we once the integrity of our field is broken, and one thing has come in on us and lowered our immune system, then the other things become relevant, even though they're not as relevant anymore. Once the integrity of our energetic field has been broken and the physical body has the things start coming in, then all of the other things become relevant again, because it's like we're not as strong anymore. So you were doing great on your diet, and then somebody hurt your feelings, and all of a sudden you're not doing great on your diet anymore. The integrity of your willpower got broken by that. So it's kind of the same thing. So say this is a hard time of year for you, and then you were in communication with someone and suddenly you weren't in communication with them anymore. That redoubles it. Or you and a friend had a fight or a falling out, that redoubles it. So once the integrity of the field is broken, then every little thing makes it easier and easier and easier. It just expands the crevice, if you will. It just brings the force field on down. So we do need to always take a look at metaphysically what is going on with us, and then find that out and work on the real problem. Now, does that mean I am not taking allergy medicines? Good Lord, no. The only thing that works at this point is, of course, I'm taking my usual allergy medicines, but is Mucinex. Mucinex makes me very sick in my stomach, you all, but it's all that helps. So I'm dealing with taking Mucinex and dealing with the after effects of that. So I am very highly motivated to figure this out and to not do this. This is why we need to understand energetically what goes on with our body, so we don't put ourselves physically through, well, I sound like this, I feel awful, my immune system gets flared, so my glands swell up, and that flares my fibromyalgia, so I'm tired and I get foggy, and then I have to take medicine that makes me sick in my stomach, and yada, yada, yada. I don't want to go through all that, folks. I don't know about you, but I don't want to go through all that. So I'm glad to know I'm an energetic being, and I'm glad now that I understand more about, because I did know, I have asked and have been told, you're always going to experience them to some degree. Well, to what degree? Because, there are times I can walk right through the same mess and it doesn't seem to bother me. So what's going on here? So I looked today, and it does make sense. It makes sense. And I'm going to do better with this, because now I understand I need to reinforce the integrity of my energetic field around this issue. And I'm going to do so and pull out of this, because I know I'm loved. I'm loved by my whole light body. My whole light body. Now, why didn't my whole light body just tell me this, since they talk to me so much? Well, most likely they have, to be perfectly honest with you. They tell me a lot of things. I get so much. It's kind of between them and the collective consciousness. And yeah, it never stops. So who knows what all they've told me. But we have to learn to ask the right questions. Even those of us who are very claircognizant and clairaudient, we're learning this process so we can teach others who don't necessarily turn their clairs on as much as we have, who don't embrace their clairs as much as we have. So we can teach others that when this happens, you need to look into this. If it comes totally easily for us, if they tell us every little step, are we going to remember? Are we going to learn from it? That's part of it. The other part is, it is because they love me. It's because I need to slow down and feel my way through all of this. I need to experience these emotions. That's how I'm going to put the integrity of my energetic field back up. I've been getting for several days now that I needed to slow down and do some me time kind of stuff. And okay, I am. I thought that meant, though, to get started on the next book, to get more into that. Well, of course, I know what the calendar says, but I know other things going on. But that was more about, we're wanting you to slow down because you need to deal with the emotions you're going to be feeling. And they want us to realize this. They want us to learn this. They want us to honor ourselves this way. They want us to honor ourselves this way. they want us to love ourselves enough to say, this was meaningful, this was important, this mattered to me, and I'm worth this. I'm worth this. They are us embodied, so they're worth it. They're experiencing the same emotion, and they want us to stop and realize we are worth this. We're worth it. So then I got, remember, you have the fated life versus the destined life, your soul plan. This is also part of why I'm experiencing all of this, the cracks in my energetic field right now. Like all of you, I'm dealing with butterfly effect. There is my soul plan, which I know, as well as anyone can know. And there is the life I know that I wrote as much as anyone can know. And there's the one that is unfolding, that I'm being guided down because it's turning out to be my best and highest good, given the butterfly effect going on. And we grieve those things, even though we get reattuned, even though we are this chakra system. Everything is a network of chakras, and we're tied into this, and we're constantly being reattuned and to travel on, to keep going. We grieve those things that our heart knows the story of, and they're not happening. We have these things our heart chakra knows. This should be happening now, that should be happening now, this, that. That's the story. And as we come across those energetic spots, those serendipitous moments in time, in the earth plane of existence, time, the timeline we have, and butterfly effect, that person, that event, that thing, it's not there. We feel it throughout our chakra system. It reverberates. So we have to be real, deal, feel it, and progress on, travel on. So with all things, it is so. So if you're experiencing any type of health issue, any type, including seasonal allergies, I urge you to just Google what's the metaphysical meaning of or spiritual meaning of, and take a look at it. I'm not telling you not to take the medications you have for it. Absolutely do that. We are still in a physical body after all. You have to treat the physical body, but take care of the energetic part. And you may find the physical body, it's going to at least get better faster. And you may get to where you won't have the issue at all. You'll at least get to where you have it less often. I have these allergy flares far less often. I used to live in one almost constantly, and they're far fewer and much longer in between now, and I'm very grateful for that. So if you have something physically going on with you, or you frequently have something that physically goes on with you, head it off at the pass. Look it up. Look at it. What am I doing energetically? That's opening my energetic field to allow this to happen in my physical. I'm telling you folks, understanding that we are energy, it makes a difference. And this is why we need to know. This is the practical, everyday stuff we do with it so we can live in great big capital letters. Because in the beginning, it was energy, neither bad nor good. And it still is just energy, neither bad nor good. Everything is what we make of. Have a great day.